I'm using, now you can use a regular lunar blender, it doesn't matter, but I have the angled and I like them for this type of thing. So I'm going to take and I'm going to bring in my branch. Now it doesn't have to run along any specific line. You might have transferred a whole pile of markings on, and I'm starting with the dark brown mix that I've made. So I'll just bring in the branch. I'll move up to the shoulder and do that one, but rather than you watch with this. Now I'm picking up some of the lighter brown and I'm going to come through and just kind of highlight a little bit on the branch. I'm not intending on covering all the dark. Depending on what color background you're on, you will see that dark a little bit better. I'm on black, so it's not that visual right now. So I'll just apply that, highlight to the branches, and that's where we're going to go from now.
I'm coming.
We're going to take and we're going to use the chisel of our lunar blender again, and I'm taking black green at this point, and I will come through a branch, and you can do a branch or two. If you've traced your snow clumps on, don't worry about those right now. You just go through them as if they're not there. So I'll do this section here. Then I'm going to take the same dirty brush and dip into my plain olive. And I'll come through. So what happens is that they're going to blend in and over top. You're still not intending on covering the entire thing, and you still want to see a little bit of your branch showing through here and there. So I'll come through and do these. And then into the avocado. Now later on at the very end, if we decide, we can lighten avocado with a bit of white and highlight some, depending on the color of your shirt and what shows. But we're not concerned about that part today. That would be later on. You'll know once everything's more or less getting done whether you need to add more highlights. So you see how those highlights show on top of each other. If you get a bit too crazy and you've pressed hard, then you can go back and add a little bit more black-green ones in just to tone it down a bit, whatever. So we will, and say later on you might say you'd like to pull a few in with a liner even to, it's up to you. But that's an after thing you'll see. Okay? Okay. So I'm using right now a lunar blender. I'm using one that's in tough shape, but it works nice to be almost like a deer foot with a chisel. I'm going to tap in.
You get just a bit of a ending.
A bit fuzzy, and yet at the same time a little bit of a flat to control it with. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to tap in these snow clumps. And I've mixed a little bit of white and black, a little black into some white to create.
Gray right now, eh?
Yeah. Okay. So we'll tap in our gray. We're not intending on it to be absolutely solid, and I'm going to come along afterwards and I'm going to put in a little bit of needles back through them after. So I would go through and put these white in, and then or gray in, and then I'm going to come back with white along the tops. So this is going to create a bit of a shadow underneath with the gray. I'm not intending on covering all of the gray. I want to see some of the gray showing along the bottoms. So it ends up giving me a little bit of depth. It's going to make it appear that there's some darker shadows underneath this. So once we have, I'll put a little more white there, give that guy a bit of thickness. Now I'm going to give it a really quick little dry. Yes.
There we go.
So we're going to take our script liner. I've got a number 1, and I'm just going to take and pull in some olive. Now I'm on a dark background, so we're not going to see too much of the olive. It's not going to show too much. But when I go into avocado thinned, and the reason to do the thinned pieces is that we are going to be able to pull them a little bit different, just a little finer over top. They add just another dimension. And I'm going to take a little white, and I'm going to thin down.
And apparently, I did
I'm going to thin down with the mix of a little white in the avocado. Now see how that highlights, and with this little bit of highlight, it is going to help pull the other colors up. You'll notice them down below more because the highlight's going to draw attention. So, and it's just a little here and there. We don't want to add too much, but when we put our snow clumps in now, they won't be as stark looking because we have a wee highlight in our branches. All right. So I've given it a quick dry, and I'm going to come back and tap in a little bit more white. I'm okay that the gray is a little bit see-through, and I can see some of the green from the needles under there, but I want to have a little heavier in the white. So I've come back and I'm going to dry this, and then we'll go to our needles. So I've dried it up a bit there, and now I'm going to come through. I've picked up the black green on my dirty brush still, and I'll pull a few needles through the clump. So they're coming through the snow clump, just poking through, which works really nice and makes it look a little more realistic, and it kind of stops it from looking like the snow is just on top. It's kind of it's been there for a bit. I'll touch up the colors on these again, right into the avocado as well. And that's my goal for the snow clumps. Alrighty. So we're going to go through and I'm going to do some needles with my script liner.
In the lightened avocado?
I haven't lightened it yet. In the avocado, some in the olive. You'll just pull a few as needed. Now the black green on this shirt isn't going to really show, or on this background, pardon, it's not a shirt. And now I'm going to lighten some avocado with some white. We're not looking to be a mint. We're looking more to be like a celery. And I will pull a few of the highlighted needles in. You're not looking for tons. This is exactly what we're seeing highlighted, just a couple of them. but it makes another dimension added in here. So I'll just come through and add in a few of these needles. So that's our plan for using the script liner. If your fabric is really thick, you have trouble with a script liner on it. So you may have to go back to your chisel of your brush. But, so I'm just, like I say, I'm going to pull in a few to highlight the edges. But you do see more, because it's with the liner, you're seeing more of the fabric on there. So that's our last touch to our needles at this point. So we just go through and add in these highlights.